My country suddenly descended into chaos. The military seized everything from civilians, then began killing children and pregnant women. My husband and I planned to flee to Ireland for the safety of our baby, but leaving this country wasn't easy. We had to sneak onto a cargo ship and pay a very high price. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough money, so we were left with no choice but to give up our wedding rings. With that, we finally managed to get into a shipping container with several other people who had the same goal. My husband then calmed me down by giving me a piece of candy and telling me to save it and eat it when we reached our destination. But in the morning, the container suddenly shook, and I heard several voices outside the door. My husband went to check what was happening, but then the door opened and many people rushed in, knocking me to the ground. The smuggler then fired his gun into the air and ordered some of the people to move to another truck. My husband tried to come back to me, but a gun was pointed at him, and he was forced to move to another truck. When he refused, he was beaten and thrown out. I tried to run after him, but it was useless. The door was quickly shut from the outside. I peeked out the hold to remember which container he was in. After that, I called him to ask about his situation. He then tried to calm me down, saying that we would meet again, and told me to turn off the phone to save the battery. I obeyed him because if the battery died, I wouldn't be able to contact him again. Suddenly, the truck carrying us rumbled through the city streets. I peeked through the hole and saw the streets that had felt familiar just yesterday now in chaos. The military was abducting children and pregnant women and opening fire on civilians. As I tried to rest, the truck came to a sudden stop, waking me up. I peeked through the hole and saw the military inspecting the truck driver, but then I sensed something bad was about to happen. Sure enough, a second later, they started checking the inside of the container. Fortunately, we were safe for the moment because we were hiding behind the container's metal walls, but then one of them sensed something was off and ordered one of his men to shoot from inside the container while he stood at the far end. After he found our hiding spot, he ordered us to come out, swearing they wouldn't shoot. I knew it was a lie, so I immediately climbed onto a box to hide. Sure enough, the moment a woman opened the door, he shot her on the spot, then ordered his men to kill everyone until no one was left. After everyone was dead, they dragged the bodies out of the container one by one. I stayed hidden until all the bodies had been dragged out. When no one was left, I tried to call my husband to warn him, but he didn't answer. My container was finally loaded onto the ship, and I was the only one left alive. I tried calling my husband again, but he still didn't answer. I looked around and found a bag. Inside were a drill, a bottle of water, a phone, and a flashlight, things I might be able to use later. That night, the ship was caught in a storm, causing the container to shake violently. I screamed for help, but no matter how loudly I shouted, no one could hear me. I grabbed onto a rope to steady myself, but the shaking threw me against the container wall and I lost consciousness. When I finally woke up, water had filled the bottom of the container. I looked outside and realized I was in the middle of the ocean. I couldn't believe my eyes, but when I looked out through another hole, all I could see was endless water. Then I took my phone and tried to call my husband, but the impact had cracked the screen so badly that I couldn't unlock it. Then I remembered the phone I'd found earlier, but when I tried to use it, it was locked with a password I didn't know. While I was searching for supplies, I suddenly heard people screaming. When I looked outside, I saw the same container my husband had boarded slowly sinking.